It's already called the snail mail for a reason, and now the Postal Service is getting even slower. I'm Ben Briscoe. Through 6 o'clock, we're digging into how much slower, why this is happening, and why some critics say there are better options out there that would have less impact on your life. On October 1st, the Postal Service first-class mail dropped from 3-day delivery to 5 days. A Postal Service expert says that almost 40% of first class will take longer to get delivered. He says that means mail is slower now than in the 1970s. Oh yeah, the mail is slower and it's going to cost you more. 3 cents more for every letter you send and 75 cents to $5 more per package, depending on where it's going. Consumer experts say you could also end up paying fees on your bills if you don't factor in the new delivery times.
Companies don't want to hear why I didn't get the bill, that's why I'm late. And when you're on a fixed income, it's really hard.
North Carolina's Attorney General Josh Stein filed a complaint against the U.S. Postal Service because of the changes. He says Postmaster General Louis DeJoy from Greensboro implemented the plan without getting an advisory panel's opinion. Stein says he took the action because it impacts so many people.
I hate it, what's going on with the Postal Service, because people depend, particularly seniors who don't have cars, they can't drive, they depend on the mail to send the medicine to their homes. And if they're getting to the end of their prescription and that next refill hasn't come yet, they start getting legitimately anxious. We need a functioning Postal Service, and that's why I'm taking action.
The complaint asked the Postal Regulatory Commission to take a look at DeJoy's plan. Stein says he will file more legal action depending on what the commission decides to do.
If the post office is engaged in a radical restructuring 10-year plan that's going to damage their ability to serve the American people, I'm going to stand up and fight.
Postmaster General DeJoy says he needed to implement the plan, arguing before Congress there was really just no other choice. The post office has to cover a projected $160 billion loss over the next 10 years. He says the old model for the post office, it doesn't work nowadays. The USPS reported $87 billion in loss in the last 14 years. Now, part of the issue, Congress passed a bill in 2006 requiring the Postal Service to pay 75 years worth of retirement for healthcare workers and their employees. That mandates costs of $72 billion, and the post office is the only government agency that has this requirement. Some lawmakers have tried eliminating that requirement. The USPS Fairness Act praised the House in 2019 before stalling in the Senate. It's currently working through Congress again, but right now it's stuck in committee.
We haven't been funded in 10 years. You can't pass any legislation. Can't pass any legislation that helps.
If I could just finish this point.
The American Postal Workers Union supports the bill. They say it eliminates a lot of the problems associated with that pre-funding mandate. We talked with someone who says they work for the post office for 40 years here in the Triad. The slowdowns made him emotional.
It gets to me when I think about that because I used to deliver to elderly people. I'm sorry. I delivered to a lot of folks that were looking for that package. A lot of packages, 1 million miles worth of packages. And you think of people like family.
You love to see how emotional he gets there with his job. Green says he doesn't agree with the changes that DeJoy is making. He wants the Postmaster General, though, to hold off on the plan for now, but Green understands why DeJoy had to implement the plan.
I guess if I was in his position, I'd react the same way as a business owner. I'd be trying to cut costs wherever I could. Now, I understand that.
There is one thing, though, that he says he does agree with totally. He says Congress needs to act to get rid of that pre-funded retirement mandate.
And these are people who aren't even born yet, that have not come to the post office to work. It's their obligation, meaning the Congress, to fix these things, to preserve the Postal Service.
So that's the reaction from the Triad, but the problem, it really goes deeper than just North Carolina. It's something that impacts Americans everywhere, and other postal workers, they aren't happy about it either. Members from the Minneapolis chapter of the American Postal Workers Union protested outside their local post office once these changes started. They said the changes threaten the Postal Service's ability to do its job.
And if you have urban communities still getting their mail in 2 or 3 days, and rural America not getting it for 5, you have failed in the mission of the Postal Service.
Adding to the worry about the shipping slowdowns are other supply chain issues that were already out there because of coronavirus. You've seen the empty shelves, you know these. We saw lots of delays last year, and experts say it might be even worse this year.
Once people start realizing that the shortages are coming, they're going to start slamming these stores just like they do the grocery stores.
The best recommendation is to buy everything early when you see it. Don't assume it will still be there later. It's not just the Postal Service struggling right now. Supply chain issues have slowed down deliveries across the board. UPS's president half-jokingly told people, order your Christmas presents now because otherwise on Christmas Day, there may just be a picture of something that's not coming until February or March. There's a bunch of steps between when that package leaves a factory until it actually gets to your home. You see, somewhere in the world it has to go through all of these different steps, and here's how a U.S. shipping company called Opus describes the process. Once you order something, it goes from a warehouse to an airport. If the item's coming from another country, it has to clear customs, which is backlogged right now because coronavirus caused custom agent shortages in other countries. Then it needs to get moved from one country to the U.S. Customs needs to inspect the item again when it finally gets here on our shore. Then it goes to another shipping center, then it finally goes to a shipping service like the post office before reaching you. It is already a lengthy process. Throw in the pandemic and things have gotten even longer. The whole complicated process is why experts are saying you really should shop early. To get ahead of the expected boom in demand, both the Postal Service and FedEx released deadlines. You need to get your mail in by these dates or it's not going to make it for the holidays. So listen up. USPS says you need to send all first-class mail by December 17th. For priority mail, get it to the post office by the 18th. FedEx says ground economy packages need to go out by December 9th. They say you need to have all other standard packages by December 15th to make it for the holidays. Again, these are the absolute latest you can send your packages. The Postal Service and FedEx encourage everyone to send their mail as early as possible because they're expecting delays, and you'll remember last year, not everything made it on time. There are 2 points that everyone can agree on right here. The mail, it is really important, and slowing down the mail, it's not great. But the Postmaster General says until someone delivers another solution, this is just the reality, one we all hope changes soon. WFMY News 2 at 6 is next.